News from around the globe. Hot, fresh, balanced and objective. On Unity.
Welcome to News Hour on Unity TV. Today is Friday, 27th of January 2023 and it's equivalent to 6th of Rajab, 1444 after Hijrah. The headline behind legacy of zero tolerance for corruption, says Buhari. Tinubu vowed to return internally displaced persons, IDPs in Benue, to their ancestral homes once elected president. No postponement of election, INEC insists. And on the foreign scene, Senegal politics heat up as President Sall stalls mom about third term. And in sports, Real beats Atletico after extra time in the Copa del Rey quarterfinals. And those were the headlines, and for details and more of the stories, I am Rukayat Sani Ibrahim. As Nigerians prepare for the 2023 general elections gathers, President Muhammadu Buhari has advised Nigerians against voting politicians who will drag the country back to dark ages. He stated this during an event organized by the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, PACAC, with the team fighting corruption in Nigeria, the past, the present and the future. Buhari said he made sure to leave behind a legacy of zero tolerance for corruption, adding that he expects the next generation to follow the same light. In the same vein, Chairman President Advisory Committee Against Corruption PACAC, Professor Itsesage San, lamented that the judiciary has not shown the commitment to the war against corruption. Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC Asuwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has vowed that he will return internally displaced persons, IDPs in Benue, to their ancestral homes once he is elected. Tinubu made this assurance while addressing thousands of supporters during the APC presidential rally at Apa-Aku Stadium in Makurdi, Benue State capital. According to the former Lagos State governor, Nigerians have no business staying in IDP camps. Tinubu recalled his long-standing relationship with the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs and Special Duties, Senator George Akume, describing him as a trusted and very dependable politician. He questioned the People's Democratic Party Presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar's source of wealth, saying it was not enough for him to say he was a customs officer with a transport company. He also described the APC governorship flag bearer, Reverend Father Haissen Alia, as hope for Benue State and canvassed support for him. 30 days to the presidential and National Assembly elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has vowed that the timetable will not be changed, saying that the issue of postponement or rescheduling the election is not on the table. Speaking on Thursday in Abuja at the 20th Daily Trust Dialogue with the team interrogating the 2023 presidential agenda, Commissioner for Information and Voter Education of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, Festus Okoye, said that as the electoral umpire, it has the competence and the courage to go with his election, just as he vowed that Commission would go ahead with the election. Okoye, who urged all other sectors, especially the political parties that are complementary in the conduct of elections, to also go and get ready, because as a commission, it will not postpone the election, adding that it has fixed the presidential and National Assembly elections for the 25th of February and governorship and state assembly elections for the 11th day of March. According to him, these dates are fixed and firm as INEC is going to go ahead with the conduct of the elections. And if there was any sector of the Nigerian society that is not yet prepared, the sector should go and get ready against the backdrop, and that the Commission was going to proceed with the election. In his opening remarks, the chairman of the occasion, His Eminence Emeritus Archbishop of Abuja, Cardinal John Onaika, who noted that the 2023 agenda should be the one that would change the minds of Nigeria, said that one of the problems with Nigeria is that we are very nice people doing very terrible things. The Nigerian Labour Congress NLC has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN to extend the date for the stoppage of the use of the highest denominations of Nigeria's currency. President of NLC Ayuba Wabba made the call when he responded to questions during a media engagement with members of Labour Correspondents Association of Nigeria, LACAN, in Abuja. The NLC president strongly kicked against the insistence of the CBN to implement its policy on phasing out of 1,500 and 200 naira notes in Nigeria starting from January 31st. The Labour leader gave reasons for its call, saying that the newly redesigned notes of the three currencies are not widely circulated for the citizens to use. Wabba noted that the CBN will throw many Nigerians, especially those in the villages, into more hardship if it goes ahead to enforce the decision on the last day of January. The coalition of United Political Parties CUPP in South-South and South-East geopolitical zones has adopted the Atiku Okowa presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). The decision for the adoption was contained in a communique after the parties met to evaluate the profiles of all the 2023 presidential candidates to ascertain who will favor the South-South and South-East as well as Nigeria at large. Addressing a press conference in Asaba, Delta State on Thursday, the spokesman of the coalition, Prince Henry Eze, flanked by other executives from the states in the two regions, said that 40 political parties in the coalition took a swipe at the APC government of President Muhammadu Buhari, which for nearly 8 years has brought untold hardship and grinding poverty to Nigerians. According to him, the two geopolitical zones had always, like others, advocated for restructuring as a means for continued existence as a nation, which Atiku Abubakar has continually stressed. The communique further said that Atiku Okowa ticket satisfied the criteria for a Muslim-Christian ticket in a multi-ethnic and multi-religious country like Nigeria, which, it explained, is in contradistinction to the APC's Muslim ticket of the Tinubu Shatima. The coalition said Atiku Abubakar's choice of Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa as a running mate is an indication that the PDP presidential candidate cares for excellence and also loves the Igbo people. Coalition of 52 northern groups CNG has raised the alarm over an alleged plot by some powerful elements to scuttle the February 25 presidential election following the upsurge in the frequency of attacks on public facilities, the lingering fuel crisis and the controversy trailing the Nigerian redesign among other issues. The national spokesman of the CNG, Suleiman Abdulaziz, raised the alarm at a press conference in Abuja on Thursday. He said the coalition had credible intelligence that there is a mega plan to create a chaotic atmosphere in the country before, during and after the elections. CNG called on President Muhammadu Buhari to absolve himself by reclaiming his statesmanship by standing against any mechanization against the conduct of credible elections and peaceful handover. The group also called on Nigerians not to be discouraged in casting their votes during the election. To enable students of voting age participate in the forthcoming general elections, the House of Representatives at plenary Thursday called on the relevant authorities in the education sector, particularly the National Universities Commission, NUC, to cast a suspension of academic activities for the period. The resolution followed the consideration of a motion sponsored by Honorable Kabir Ibrahim at the plenary Thursday. Presenting the motion, Ibrahim posited that the students constituted 40% of the newly registered voters in the state outside the location of their university. He argued it was their constitutional rights to vote during elections and therefore should be allowed to vote. The motion was eventually adopted by the House, which secured the support of the majority. On the other hand, the House stepped down a motion on the urgent need to halt the incidence of stringent penalties placed by West African Examination Council (WAEC) on some secondary schools in Ebonyi State. The motion presented by Honorable Chinedu Oga stated that the penalties, which were up to 500,000 naira, stemmed from perceived examination malpractice. He said that the development had prevented many students from writing exams and eventually turned hawkers. He called on WAEC to immediately halt the penalties, adding that the council should be investigated to know if those penalties are remitted to the federal government coffers. In his contribution also, the Deputy Speaker of the House, Honorable Idris Wasai, frowned at the motion, saying the House will not condone malpractice done by some of these schools who connive with officials to cheat. He therefore urged Oga to step down the motion. Based on the advice, the motion was eventually stepped down by the mover. Tinubu knocked the opposition PDP and the Atiku camp for issuing a knee-jerk response, derailing from the issues, distorting his views at the Abeokuta rally to create a wedge between him and the President Muhammadu Buhari. He added that when the guilds are afraid of being uncovered, they try to push back with red herring. Also, the Director of Media and Publicity, All Progressive Congress Presidential Campaign Council, Bayo Onanuga, in a statement, has refuted notions that the comments of the ruling party's presidential candidate Bola Tinubu made on fuel scarcity and Naira redesign was targeted at the President Muhammadu Buhari regime. The APC standard bearer spoke during the APC presidential campaign held at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Kutu, Abeokuta, Ogun State. However, the opposition People's Democratic Party and oil marketers faulted the ex-Lagos State governor's allegations. Reacting to the notions by some camps, Onanuga said PDP members working in partnership with fifth columnists were the ones bent on inflicting avoidable pains on helpless Nigerians to achieve a political end. On the foreign scene, Senegal's former Prime Minister Aminata Touré says she will keep fighting against a possible third term for her former boss, President Macky Sall, who remains silent on his intentions regarding the 2024 presidential election. Touré was stripped of her seat in parliament this week, a move she said is based solely on her decision to oppose to a potential candidacy by President Sall. The president's supporters say the 2016 constitution allows him to run again, while his critics say it does not. In removing Touré from parliament, Senegal's ruling coalition cited her decision to leave the party under which she was elected. Touré told VOA that her former colleagues violated Article 60 of the Constitution by not notifying her in advance and not organizing a hearing. I heard from the radio, she said, calling the decision illegal. Touré has been highly critical on the ruling party since her bid to lead the parliament failed in September, and she has accused President Sall of failing to support her. Touré, who has announced her candidacy for the 2024 presidential election, says President Sall is attempting to keep his main opponents from running. Many political observers say a third run for President Sall could rock a country that has been considered a beacon of democracy and stability in a West African region plagued by coup and militant attacks. And in sports, Real Madrid beat City rivals Atletico Madrid after extra time to advance to the semi-finals of the Copa del Rey. Atletico took the lead with Alvaro Morata scoring from close range following Nahuel Molina's slow cross. Real were 11 minutes from going out but equalized with Rodrigo beat 3 players and scored a wonderful goal. Atletico's Stefan Savic was sent off for 2 bookable offenses before Karim Benzema put Real ahead in the 104 minutes with Vinicius Jr. adding a third. Benzema steered a low shot past Jan Oblak after the visitors had failed to deal with Marco Asensio's low cross, and Vinicius Jr. sealed the victory as he passed the ball into the bottom corner after a fine run. Barcelona and Osasuna beat Real Sociedad and Sevilla respectively in their quarterfinals on Wednesday, and Atletico Bilbao won 3-1 at Valencia on Thursday to join them in the semi-finals. The draw for the final 4 will take place on Monday, 30 January, with the first legs in early February and the second legs in the beginning of March before the final on 6th of May. With this story, we've come to the end of our bulletins for today. You can follow us on our social media handles at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Unity Radio FM TV, respectively. I am Ruqayyat Sane Ibrahim. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.